I'll tell you a couple of secrets about, because you're brothers and sisters in this faith. So I'm going to kind of tell you the way that we often see it. If you work at Covenant House and a kid comes in and you think that you know that they're going to make it or they're not going to make it, then you don't belong at Covenant House. Because that's God's job. Our job is to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to be there with them in their darkness and let God do what God does. And often when you get older in the work, you start to think you know something. You think you know the kid who's going to make it. So you run around and give him a little extra. And the kid who you don't think is going to make it, you pull a little off the table. That's not God's mercy. His mercy endures forever with everything that we have. So we need to go to each young person. And some of our young people, they don't believe in themselves and they leave. They come to Covenant House and then they go back out on the street. And they come to Covenant House and then they go back out on the street. Or sometimes we have to ask them to leave because they're acting like street at Covenant House. But every time they come back, we have to be, as we learned in the gospel, the father who runs down the road to see his son who's come home. And you can only do that if you stand in faith. You can only do that as you stand in faith. So faith is such an important part of our work, to do it well, because you can punch the clock. But that doesn't bring about God's mercy. I want to talk to you a little bit about Covenant House. Some of you know, some of you are faithful supporters of ours, and we appreciate that. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about our kids and what we do and how we try to love them and be a reflection of God's love to them. Our mission statement calls us to, first thing, it says, we who believe in God's providence. See, we know that, we're just a piece. I grew up in Queens, and my mother's this Irish woman, and so you guys will get this, those who are Irish. She was a tough gal. And she had 6 kids in 7 years, so guess what? You walk the line, right? And the wonderful thing about my mom is, you knew you were special. You were divine and you were special, right? And you were her baby and she was your mom. But there was another side too. Then I'd say, hey mom, how does this look? And she'd say, nobody's looking at you. And then I'd say, there's Irish moms in the audience, that's so great. And then I'd say, mom, does this match? And she'd say, walk fast, no one's looking at you. Walk fast, no one's looking at you. I took that with me to Covenant House. Here's the message. You are a very important piece. You're just a piece. You're just a piece. And how about we learn that in our faith? That we are divine and that God lives within us and that we're sinners. We have to be able to hold the paradox of that. And at Covenant House, we have to do that. That our work and how we come to work and that we need to come faithful is essential to be a reflection of God's love. But get over yourself. You're just a piece. An important piece, but just a piece. Because it takes us all. And we do have to have the humility to get out of the way so that God can do what God can do. I've worked at Covenant House. I've had almost every job at Covenant House. And I'm honored to be part of it. And I'm just a piece.